Fucking with Trey.
Get that paper, told that Glock, that's how we live. Yeah, my life's a gamble, I pray I don't get killed. They can't believe I got the guap, this shit for real. Can't accept the fact my brother gone, I wanna kill. Yeah, I can't go for that shit don't sit right. Instead of cabin to the old nigga, I know what you live like. Ain't worried about all, just fuck these hoes and live life. I go on the drill, I'm smart enough, you gotta know how to kill.
High above the pitch, inside the glass-walled box, two masters sat side by side. Noel Noah folded his arms, eyes calm, but sharp. "So," he said at last, "you've chosen Yoichi Isagi. Interesting, to say the least." Mark Snuffy didn't look away from the field. "Yes, I imagine that surprises you, given your history with a certain someone. They often mirror each other, don't you think?" Noah's jaw tightened. "Don't bring up that ghost." Snuffy finally turned, his gaze steady. "Be careful with that way of thinking, because this time, history may end differently." Below them, the whistle blew. Kickoff. Germany's ball. The ball moved clearly, efficiently. No wasted motion. Ness to Grimm, then back to Ness. Kaiser drifted into space, smiling. They're still the same, Isagi thought. This was already on film. He had data on it running through his mind. Perfectly calculated, perfectly predictable. Ness's eyes lit up as he slid the pass. "Kaiser!" But the lane then vanished. A long leg stabbed in. "Hope you didn't forget about me, Michael." Don Lorenzo stripped the ball clean, spinning away with his eerie, loose-limbed dribble. Kaiser would click his tongue. Lorenzo advanced, humming to himself. Then the ball would slip forward. Isagi received it, with two shadows closing in, Kira and Yukimiya. Kira, again, his eyes had narrowed. "I've been here before. I won't fall apart this time." Thinking back to all those times that Isagi had already defeated him. However, since joining Germany's team, he's grown. He's become a completely different striker, and it'll show right here in this moment. Isagi chopped the ball, but bursted into a sprint. Yukimiya lunged. He was too slow. A sudden spin would lose him as the ball was glued to Isagi's feet, but Kira stayed with them. Metavision. He can see it. He sees Isagi. But Isagi felt him there, a sensation like no other. "He's behind me." And yet, Isagi shifted again one time. This subtle change of angle, body blocking space, Kira didn't even realize he needed. What? He knew? Kira's smaller frame got strained. Isagi then struck the ball. A goal rippled into the net. Kira would stare at the grass. No, that can't be. A flashback happens here. Snuffy was seen standing beside Isagi during training, holograms floating around them. "You already see the game ahead of others," he said. "But your vision as of now, it isn't enough." Isagi clenched his fist. "Then what am I missing?" "Yourself," Snuffy replied. "Expand your awareness until you're a part of the field itself." Something then clicked within his mind. It's almost like he's been doing this, but he didn't realize it. Isagi thought about it for a moment. Lines, angles, intent, actions of players, movements across the field, even without the ball. Everything was going on simultaneously. But if he was able to keep track of everything, keep track of every movement, every intention, every possible play, he could create something new inside his mind. This is when he began to understand it. Metavision. Back in the present, Kira shook his head. Focus. Focus. Doubt will kill you faster than any defeat. Germany attacked once again, but this time Kaiser was locked down. Lorenzo smiled. "Where you go, I go." With no option, the ball shifted wide, and Kunigami stepped up. His eyes burned. "I'll do it myself." Unleashing a cannon shot. The keeper punched it away. A corner kick was given to Germany. Ness jogged to the ball, setting it up and now scanning the field. Kaiser and Kunigami, the main options, their two strongest attackers. This wasn't just a match. Above, Noah and Mark Snuffy had watched in silence. The next moment might truly decide everything. The whistle blew, and Ness began running up to the ball, holding his breath in, standing over it in a slow moment. He thought about it. He has to choose in this moment. Time slowed down for him. His eyes flickered across the box. But then, he decided, of course. "Kaiser!" he shouted. Kaiser leapt into the air, body twisting. If Lorenzo was going to mark him before he could get a shot off, then he'd just shoot as soon as the ball approached him. Out of nowhere, a loud boom was heard. This is when the ball would just rush forward towards the goal. From it, Ryu was able to just barely tap it. "Too low for royalty," he said coldly, heading the ball outside of the box. Kaiser was angered because that shot was more on point than anything. But Iki Nico watched the ball bounce and he was already there. "I've got it," he said, surging forward, his eyes sharp. Then he sent the ball wide. Drago. One touch would happen here. Then he snapped it back to the middle, where Sendo waited. Sendo then dragged the ball back, avoiding a defender, then bursted past him. Isagi. The ball zipped in. Isagi opened his body to receive it, and immediately felt the pressure. Kunigami had ran all the way back to his left, and Raichi was crashing in from the right. Snuffy, watching from the bench, had closed his eyes. A flashback would happen once again. Snuffy was thinking in his mind, going back to that time he was teaching Isagi. "When defenders understand that you're a threat," he said calmly. The hologram shifted around him. "You become a target." Isagi leaned in, listening intensely. "They won't always know why," Snuffy continued, "but subconsciously, they'll converge on you." "So what should I do then? What's my best course of action, especially if I'm surrounded? I always can't bulldoze through everyone. Sure, it works for players like Barou, but I'm different." "Yes, I know that, but different is good." Snuffy's eyes gleamed. "I'll make sure that you develop something even greater, a new playstyle, one of a striker who's destined for greatness. A striker who can become the ultimate counter." Back to the match. Isagi dropped the ball back instantly, and Sendo froze for a moment, not expecting it. "What?" But then instinct kicked in. "I've got it." Sendo chipped the ball into space over the defenders. Isagi sprinted, and before it even touched the ground, he volleyed it. But a massive shadow rose to the occasion. Gagamaru. "Sorry, Isagi," he said, catching the ball. "But that one was obvious for me." Sendo clenched his fists. "Damn it, I wasn't ready for that pass." Isagi ran back to him, exhaling. "Good, it was perfect. That one's on me." But then he said quietly, "I'll make sure I score the next one." Gagamaru hurls the ball forward. Germany surged. Kunigami tried to muscle through, but Kira stepped in. Now. He stripped the ball cleanly, and then slipped in between Nico's reach, taking it for his own and dribbling into open space. The shot screamed past the keeper. A goal. He clenched his fists, believing he had done it. At midfield, Isagi stood silently as the play reset. He wondered how it could be. How could someone let a goal like that go in? But he wouldn't take his frustration out on his team. That one was unpredictable. So, he'll continue to light up the fire within his team. He tapped the ball all the way back to Aiku. "So, this is what you want," he said. "You greedy king." The Uber shifted. Lorenzo pushed up. Aiku joined him. Sendo slid into position. A triangle. One touch. Two touch. Germany scrambled, being caught off guard. Aiku received the final pass and lofted it forward. Isagi tracked it effortlessly, Metavision adapting to every moment. He laughed softly. Kaiser appearing at his shoulder. What's a king to an emperor? Isagi stopped dead in his tracks, catching the ball as it dropped, turning back. Perfect balance, perfect spacing. Dominion shot. The strike would end up kissing the top corner. Another goal. Isagi turned, his eyes burning. An emperor, he said calmly, doesn't amuse me. I'm the king of kings on the field, after all. Germany soon resets the ball. Ness fed Kaiser. The air shifted. Kaiser launched himself backwards. Kaiser impact. But this time, it was a bicycle kick. The strike detonated into the net. The score was now tied, 2-2. Everyone who was watching around the world was excited. Who knows how this match could end? High above, two figures began to step down. Snuffy cracked his neck, and Noah smiled coldly. As they walked onto the field, Snuffy finally spoke. Shall we give them a helping hand? Noah got serious. Shut up. This ends now. The intensity could be felt from all around in each player. For a moment, the world narrowed as Mark Snuffy stepped towards Isagi. You've done well, he said quietly, his voice cutting clean through the chaos. Your positioning, your timing, your decisions, they're sharp. Isagi listened and breathed steadily. But now, he continued, eyes hardening, good isn't enough. From here on out, I'll need you to play perfect if you want to secure victory. Then, softer but heavier. And watch Noah closely. Since you're aiming for him, there's no better lesson than standing right in his shadow. Isagi nodded once. I will. The whistle then blew. Germany moved in first, getting the ball back. And now, the ball flowed between Kaiser and Noah. Seamless, ruthless. Two powerhouses in different eras linking arms in this moment. They surged forward. Snuffy matched Noah's stride, shoulder for shoulder. But the pass still came his way. Noah received it with his back foot. Isagi then stepped in, doubling him without hesitation, using his metavision to help him adapt. For an instant, their eyes met, and Isagi felt it. A wall. Something he hadn't faced in such a long time. Noah's gaze crushed down upon him as he would say the words, "You haven't even scratched the surface yet." Noah moved. One touch dismantled Isagi's angle. Another erased his balance. He slipped down the field. Kaiser then broke free. But no. Kira had appeared. He read it, intercepted it clean. Everyone couldn't believe their eyes, even those watching. Kaiser then spun on him, fury exploding. You useless! Don't you dare get in my way. Kira didn't answer. He was already moving, but before he shot, Nico's eyes, they flashed. In this moment, tracking everything on the field, getting overwhelmed, he calmed his mind and was able to do it. Awakening metavision. He slid in, stealing the ball back. I won't let it end like this. Nico passed it instantly. Lorenzo took it, grinning wildly. Let's eat then, shall we? The Uber shifted. Snuffy moved forward. Isagi had mirrored him. A pass, a return. One touch, then another followed. Rhythm had sharpened. Noah had stepped in, and Kaiser followed. Isagi's glance once, then baited. He drifted just enough to pull Kaiser off the line. He would lunge. Damn it! It's too late though. Snuffy slipped the ball through an opening, and Isagi was already there. Time began to slow down. This was it. The world held its breath. Isagi struck. A goal. Then silence. For a moment, the whole world didn't know what to do. Then explosions. Across TVs, phones, bars, streets, even shopping malls. One thought echoed. Yoichi Isagi was truly the king of the Ubers. Born from loss, forged in a system, sharpened by ego, Noel Noah watched in silence. Kaiser clenched his fist in agony, and Snuffy smiled with victory. And Isagi stood in midfield, his eyes burning. The king, born from the ashes of Japan, has truly arrived, and the world could no longer look away. The world was still buzzing, but not everyone watched from the same place as stated before. Someone else was still in the background, watching, on a plane ride. Getting off the plane, he was watching the rest of the match. On his phone, this small, dimly lit screen. Itoshi Sai leaned back, arms crossed, eyes sharp. He murmured. Demanding attention like that, and scoring in that fashion. I'm impressed he got past you, Kaiser, especially in such a blatant way. The replay froze on Isagi's final goal. Sai smirked faintly. Interesting. But then his gaze hardened. Alright then, Yoichi Isagi. Come amuse me as well. On the bench, Shohei Barou sat hunched forward, his fists almost trembling from anger. Why not me? His teeth clenched so hard that they creaked. How can this life be so cruel for someone like me, born with everything? He stared at Isagi. Is he really that far ahead of me? Standing toe-to-toe with the world's best and coming out on top? His breath shook. Damn it all to hell. But deep down, something else worse was burning that made it so that he couldn't look away. His hatred began to fester for his brother. On the pitch, Michael Kaiser watched Isagi from a distance, disbelief etched onto his face. Unbelievable. Someone like that. And he wasn't even New Gen 11. Blue Lock wasn't just producing strikers. It was creating monsters. Kaiser clicked his tongue. What a joke. Yet, his eyes never left Isagi. Isagi didn't smile. He didn't celebrate. As everything flashed onto him, the cameras that were in the room panning down with those around the world being able to look at him and yelling his name, cheering it actually. Only one thing burned between those eyes. Hunger. This isn't enough. He knows deep down that he wouldn't have been able to win without the help of Snuffy. So, he needed to focus even harder. Time passed, training resumed. Isagi lifted until his muscles screamed, studied film until dawn. Noel Noah's pressure, his presence, the way the field bent around him. I want that. Not skill, not frame, not God-given talent to be ambidextrous. No, that kind of gravity, the kind that suffocates opponents just by existing. That's what I'm chasing. Then came the announcement. The final match of the Neo Egoist League. The tunnel, the lights, it all flared. Two teams stepped forward. Italy's Ubers, led by their king, Yoichi Isagi, standing at the front, calm as ever. Across from them, England's Manshine City, the final proving ground in the Neo Egoist League. Everyone was watching, even those who participated in the league themselves, as this was really the final match. And the hunger, yes, it had only just begun. The whistle pierced through the air as the final match began. From the opening moments, it was clear. England was off balance. Their movements lacked sharpness. Their spacing was a fraction just too wide. That fraction was enough to capitalize on. Iki Nico eyes flared, seeing it all with metavision. Stepping forward into the passing lane, stealing the ball clean. Sendo! The pass would scrape forward. Sendo didn't even hesitate, one-touching it towards Isagi. Isagi receiving the ball as two figures surged towards him. Chigiri with blazing speed, and Agi with towering power. Isagi's expression though, it didn't change. No tension, no excitement, only inevitability. He glided past Chigiri, cutting inside before the speedster could even commit to the ball. Agi then stepped in. Isagi didn't look at him. The ball then shifted. He twisted his body. A shot detonated off his foot. Raw, devastating force fused with precision. Excalibur Nexus. A technique reappears once again. The net screamed, and those around the world who were watching exploded with excitement. There it was again. Yoichi Isagi, Japan's true savior, showing why he was chosen by the gods. Ryo's eyes would widen in this moment. What was that? He soon gathered his thoughts, taking charge immediately. Resetting the ball, he carried it forward and released it to Chigiri. Chigiri ran down the sidelines using his speed to get by. Before he could commit to the 44 Panther shot, Aiku slid in, deflecting it. The ball would pop loose. Nagi instinctively traps it. Knowing that he has it, he moves to shoot. But instantly, Aiku steps in the way. However, he's able to flick the ball through. Then, he's open for another shot. However, Aiku was even faster than before, moving to stop him. Not today. Damn, you can just run anywhere, huh? The ball's blocked, and he runs forward. Lorenzo and Sendo link up. Slick passes through the midfield. Ryo could read the play immediately. There. It's gonna land there. He stepped in, but Snuffy smiled. He took the bait. Running towards Isagi, Isagi had crashed into Ryo, bodying him to the ground with ruthless efficiency. While being on the ground, Ryo could only watch, but nothing happened. He was confused in this moment. Maybe he got a concussion from hitting Isagi so hard? Or maybe time was freezing for him right now. But no, this was the hard, cold reality. Isagi stood there with the ball under his cleat. He didn't shoot. He didn't turn back. He let them gather themselves. Stand up already. Everyone who was watching couldn't believe their eyes. Something like this was never done before in a game. Even Snuffy expected Isagi to shoot it. So what was his aim at? Is he insane? 5 defenders, then closed in. The keeper also stepping forward. Isagi exhaled. Time slowed for him. His flow surged, controlled and absolute. In his mind, it's as if he's walking through a door, and on the other side, a white light, a white room he would enter. This was Isagi's flow. Something so different from anyone else. Walking through this room, he realized it had no end. He could only keep going further and further. So he did just that. A king in knightly armor manifested as his aura. He moved, a drag back past one defender. Then, a sudden burst through a collapsing gap. A heel chop to slide between 2 more. A shoulder feint to freeze the keeper into a fake shot, spinning a different way and slamming the ball into the net. Goal. Ryo stared from the ground. He's unstoppable. Across the pitch, something else shifted. Nagi's eyes sharpened. His laziness began to peel away. So this is the level of a striker like that? England began their attack again. The ball found Nagi. Chris Prince leaned forward, excitement blazing. He could sense it, that same feeling as when they played Germany. Snuffy would cut in calmly. Don't get too excited. I still have my best piece on this chessboard. Nagi moved, but Isagi was already there. He had ran back. He stole the ball clean, and Nagi froze, clearly outclassed. Isagi's voice then cut through the chaos. Who do you think you are? The world doesn't wait for people to fall into greatness. It follows those who can create it and then repeat that process. That's how history is made. That's how kings are remembered. Isagi's eyes burned with fury. And I will demonstrate. Nico surged forward. Lorenzo overlapped. The pass went off. 1, then back and forth. 2, then another. 3. The undead army attack tore through England's shape. The final pass reached Isagi. He struck. A goal. The match was over. There was no doubt left. He truly took over the Neo-Egoist League, and none could go against it. The king of the Ubers stood alone. The stadium lights began to dim, but the echo of that final whistle refused to fade. The Neo-Egoist League was now over, and what remained was judgment. Blue Lock's main hall was silent. Players stood shoulder to shoulder, watching and waiting, eyes fixed on the massive screen above them. No bravado, no trash talk, only anticipation as each person's rank and their current bid would go off. Now, the numbers would truly decide their value. The screen continued to flicker, and names continued to go. First, we'd see, at rank number 15, Shohei Barou, his fist clenched. So that's the distance now? Away from him? Damn it all. Numbers kept going. At number 2 was Hitoshi Rin with a 240 million bid. But that was to be expected from his performances. But everyone knew who was above him. At rank 1 with a 300 million bid, Yoichi Isagi. The room exploded. They couldn't believe that number. But Isagi stood still. No smile, no celebration. His arms still folded behind his back, waiting for the next announcement. He looked at his brother. That's when he would turn his head. The distance was clear between the two of them, and Barou hated every feeling of it. But this wasn't the end of their story. There was much more to come. There was still so much that was unwritten. Jinpachi Ego soon stepped forward, his grin sharp as ever. "Congratulations," he said. "The world is watching you now." The room got quiet. "You forced global attention onto Japan. Scouts, clubs, federations, they're all looking right at this project. Right at you." His eyes locked onto Isagi for a moment, but then back to the rest of the crowd. "But don't misunderstand. This was nothing more than an audition." The screen then shifted once again. A new title appears. The U20 World Cup was on the horizon. This is the real battlefield awaiting you, and it must be seized. He spread his arms wide. "Show the world your resolve." Isagi exhaled slowly. The journey? No, it wasn't over. It had only just begun.